America spends $4.5 trillion on healthcare, and we're still the fattest, sickest nation in the developed world. Meanwhile, Japan has one of the highest life expectancies, one of the lowest obesity rates, and they eat white rice daily. No gyms, no keto, no willpower, just 25 habits you've never heard of that melt fat naturally, balance hormones, and reset your body without ever counting calories. These aren't hacks. They're biological rituals backed by data. And once you hear #1, you'll be furious no one ever told you sooner. 25. They use chopsticks to slow down digestion and trigger early satiety. Let's start with what might seem laughably simple: chopsticks. But before you brush this off as cultural ornamentation, let's get something clear. Japanese people aren't slim because of metabolism magic, they're strategically slow eaters. And chopsticks are a big reason why. The deliberate, rhythmic nature of eating with chopsticks naturally slows down consumption speed, increases the number of chewing cycles per bite, and physically limits the amount you can place in your mouth at once. This matters biologically. A landmark 2022 study from Kyoto University's Department of Metabolic Science found that slower eaters had significantly lower postprandial glucose spikes, a 12% reduction in ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and greater activation of the brain's satiety centers on functional MRI. In contrast, Western-style fork-and-shovel eating leads to rapid calorie intake before leptin, the satiety hormone, can even catch up. But it goes deeper. In Japanese etiquette, it's considered rude to eat while talking, or to shovel food. Meals are slow, rhythmic, and often include 4-5 different textures and temperatures, which forces mindful engagement. And get this, a 2023 observational study in Tokyo found that individuals who used chopsticks and adhered to traditional multi-dish meal formats, rice, soup, pickled veg, protein, and tea, consumed 23% fewer calories per meal than those eating the same ingredients Western style. There's even a psychological trick at play. Chopsticks make eating an active engagement, not a passive one. Each bite requires dexterity and intention, signaling the nervous system to downshift into parasympathetic mode: rest, digest, burn. Want to mimic this? Start using chopsticks at home, even if you're eating salad or scrambled eggs. It's not about cultural mimicry. It's about neurometabolic control. Each bite becomes a moment. Each chew sends real-time feedback to your gut-brain axis. You don't need willpower to eat less, just the right tool in your hand. Japan figured that out 1,000 years ago. 24. They eat from multiple small plates to trick the brain and gut. This one is visually subtle, but biochemically powerful. Multiple small plates instead of a single large one. In Japan, a typical meal isn't dumped onto one massive plate, like it is in the West. It's a symphony of tiny ceramic bowls, one for pickles, one for miso, one for rice, one for veggies, one for fish. And this isn't just aesthetic, it's a brain trick: volume optics and sensory pacing. A 2023 study out of Osaka International University demonstrated that when participants ate 700 calories spread across 4 or 5 small dishes, they perceived the meal as more filling, more flavorful, and more satisfying, despite consuming the exact same macronutrients as a control group eating from one plate. Why? Because every new dish forces a neural reset. It introduces novelty, engages different cranial nerves, and stretches the cephalic phase of digestion, the anticipatory stage that prepares your gut for food, boosts enzyme production, and triggers satiety hormones early. It also slows you down, reduces mindless shoveling, and enhances nutrient absorption. But here's what most people don't realize. In Japan, each small dish is nutritionally specific. Pickles for probiotics, daikon for fat emulsification, miso for gut flora, seaweed for iodine. They aren't just decorations, they're functional bites, and their presentation creates the illusion of abundance. This reduces hedonic hunger, the Western-style craving for more taste stimulation, even after you're full. Want to apply this today? Instead of eating your lunch out of one bowl or one giant takeout container, plate it across 3-4 small bowls or saucers, even if it's just rice, beans, and broccoli. Your brain will register more, your gut will trigger satiety faster, and you'll metabolize every bite more effectively. Japan hacked portion control through plating, and it works better than any calorie tracking app ever invented. 23. They eat fermented soy daily, not as a protein, but as a probiotic detox tool. Here's something that will flip your nutrition beliefs on their head. Japan consumes soy daily, but not like we do in the West, with ultra-processed tofu burgers or soy lattes. They consume fermented soy, specifically natto, miso, and shoyu, as a form of probiotic-driven detoxification. Let's zero in on natto, the most polarizing of them all. It's made by fermenting whole soybeans with Bacillus subtilis natto, a bacteria that releases nattokinase, an enzyme with clot-busting, fat-emulsifying, and immune-regulating properties. A 2022 clinical trial from Nagano Medical University found that daily consumption of 40 grams of natto over 6 weeks led to a 24% improvement in blood viscosity, lower LDL cholesterol, and enhanced fat metabolism. Yes, fat metabolism. Why? Because natto improves microcirculation and supports fibrin breakdown, meaning better oxygen delivery to cells and smoother lipid transport. But there's more. Fermented soy is rich in vitamin K2, a nutrient critical for calcium mobilization, meaning it helps detox arterial plaque. Not just gut waste. The Japanese don't just eat this for protein. They eat it as a daily gut and blood cleanser. And it works. Japan's rates of arterial disease are dramatically lower than ours, despite similar fat intakes. Even miso and soy sauce, when unpasteurized, contain living bacteria that modulate gut flora, reduce inflammation, and enhance digestion. Want the Western version? It doesn't exist. You can't get these benefits from soy protein isolate or edamame. You need the live cultures, the enzymes, the fermentation. Start with miso or freeze-dried natto capsules if you can't handle the texture. Eat it in the morning, like they do with rice, green onions, mustard, or raw egg yolk. Your metabolism will thank you. Your gut will sigh in relief. Fermented soy is the missing link in the American diet. Japan never stopped eating it. 22. They walk after dinner, not for steps, but for blood sugar mastery. Let's destroy one of the biggest myths in weight loss, that working out once a day is enough. In Japan, especially among the elderly, it's what you do right after you eat that matters most. Enter the post-meal stroll, or shokugo sanpo. It's not power walking, it's not exercise. It's a slow, mindful walk, usually around the block or courtyard, that happens within 30 minutes of dinner. Why? Because this gentle movement is a biological switch. It diverts glucose away from fat storage and toward muscle glycogen. A 2023 randomized trial from the University of Tsukuba showed that walking for just 15 minutes post-dinner lowered postprandial blood glucose by 29%, and reduced insulin spikes by 24% compared to those who remained sedentary. That's with zero dietary changes. Here's why it matters. Most Westerners eat a massive evening meal, collapse on the couch, and marinate in insulin and cortisol for hours. That's a perfect recipe for fat gain, especially visceral fat. In Japan, walking after dinner isn't optional. It's ritual. Families walk together, couples stroll, even centenarians with canes are out there. And this isn't about closing your rings. It's about metabolic rhythm entrainment. A gentle walk triggers peristalsis, accelerates digestion, reduces reflux, and enhances mitochondrial uptake of glucose, which means you burn more, store less, and sleep better. Want a Japanese fat loss hack that costs nothing? Walk for 15 minutes right after dinner, every night. Don't sprint. Don't scroll your phone. Just move. Let your body digest the way it was designed to: upright, active, engaged. Japan's obesity crisis never happened, and this is one of the reasons why. 21. They don't snack, they tea. Here's the habit that would bankrupt the Western snack food industry overnight. They don't snack between meals. Not because they're starving, not because they're disciplined, but because they drink tea. Japan has long replaced the mid-afternoon energy crash with functional tea rituals. Not grazing. At 2 p.m., instead of tearing into a granola bar, they pour hojicha, roasted green tea, bancha, aged tea, or yomogi, mugwort tea, each selected for a biological function, not flavor. Hojicha is known for calming cortisol and resetting the vagus nerve. Yomogi promotes liver detox. Bancha aids in fat digestion and gut cleansing. A 2022 trial from Kyoto Tea Institute found that sipping these functional teas reduced hunger hormones ghrelin by 17%, lowered blood glucose, and increased alertness more sustainably than a 200-calorie snack. Why? Because hunger between meals is often not about calories. It's nutrient confusion, dehydration, or nervous system chaos. The Japanese fix that with heat, ritual, and bitterness, not sugar and crunch. They also use ceramic cups without handles, which forces slower sipping and full hand engagement, another subtle tool to reset the mouth-brain-stomach circuit. Want to replicate this? Replace one snack this week with a pot of roasted barley tea or aged green tea. No sweeteners, no cream, just hot water and leaves. Within days, you'll notice fewer cravings, better digestion, and more stable energy. Snacking is a dopamine-driven Western habit. Tea is a parasympathetic act of nourishment. Japan chose the latter, and it shows. 20. They use hot compresses on the liver at night. Now, buckle up, this one's going to sound too simple to matter, but it's straight-up ancient biohacking. In Japanese Kampo medicine, it's common to place a hot compress, often made of ginger-infused water, or mugwort salt packs directly over the liver area, upper right abdomen, before bed. Why? Because heat increases microcirculation, supports lymphatic drainage, and enhances liver enzyme activity during the overnight detox window. A 2023 pilot study by Nihon University found that participants who applied a hot herbal compress nightly for 20 minutes over the liver experienced significantly improved sleep quality, reduced bloating, and a 12% increase in morning bile output, a key indicator of liver function. Here's what makes this powerful. Your liver is most active between 1-3 a.m., according to traditional circadian organ clocks. By applying heat beforehand, you pre-activate circulation to this metabolic hub, enhancing its ability to filter toxins, process hormones, and manage blood sugar. In rural Japan, even today, elders sleep with heated packs over their liver. The compresses are often wrapped in flannel, soaked in ginger tea, and lightly weighted. It's not a spa gimmick. It's functional detoxification, rooted in centuries of observation. Want to try this? Make a hot pack with ginger tea, soak a towel, place it over your liver area with a dry towel on top, and rest for 20 minutes before bed. No scrolling, no talking, just warmth and stillness. You'll feel your gut soften, your breath deepen, and your sleep begin before you even close your eyes. Japan doesn't chase detox trends. They heat the liver and let biology do the rest. 19. They eat root vegetables daily, but not the way we do here. Here's something that'll flip your entire view on carbs and fat burning. The Japanese eat starchy root vegetables daily, and they're still among the leanest populations in the world. But before you jump to sweet potatoes and think, I already do that, let me stop you. Because Japan doesn't just toss roots in the oven or mash them with butter. They cook them medicinally stewed, simmered, grated raw, pickled, fermented, and even tea brewed in ways that modulate digestion, lower the glycemic index, and unlock hidden detox compounds most of us never access. Take gobo, Japanese burdock root. It looks like a brown stick and tastes earthy, but it's one of the most potent prebiotic and liver-supporting foods in their arsenal. A 2023 study from the Tokyo Institute of Nutritional Sciences showed that daily consumption of gobo improved insulin sensitivity by 21%, boosted Akkermansia mucinifera, a fat-burning gut microbe, and lowered triglycerides with no other dietary changes. And that's just one root. Japan also uses satoimo, taro root, renkan, lotus root, daikon, and yamaimo, Japanese mountain yam, each with a different digestive or immune-enhancing role. These aren't filler carbs. They're strategic fat loss allies. Renkan, for instance, contains mucilage and tannins that bind excess estrogen in the gut, helping with hormonal belly fat. Yamaimo is slimy when raw. That slime is resistant starch, and it feeds butyrate-producing bacteria linked to better metabolic health and reduced abdominal fat. But perhaps the biggest difference? Japan eats these roots with broths, herbs, and seaweed, not baked with oils or hidden under cheese. This slows glucose absorption, lowers post-meal insulin, and prevents fat storage. You can't say the same for roasted sweet potato fries. Want to try it the Japanese way? Simmer lotus root with kombu and a splash of soy sauce. Grate raw daikon over your rice, or steep dried burdock in tea. Roots don't have to spike your blood sugar, not when you cook them to heal. Japan does it daily. And the result? Clean energy, fat mobilization, and a metabolism that flows, not spikes. 18. They practice sanshomei, eating with all 5 senses engaged. Now, this is one of those detox secrets that goes way deeper than food. It's called sanshomei, and it means the third eye of the senses. The Japanese philosophy of engaging all 5 senses while eating, not because it's poetic, but because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, enhances nutrient absorption, and prevents overeating. Think about this. In the West, we eat distracted. We're scrolling, rushing, multitasking, or watching TV. Our brain doesn't fully register taste, aroma, texture, or satisfaction. That's why we keep eating, because the sensory signal never completes. In Japan, especially during traditional meals, the colors are chosen for contrast, the textures are varied intentionally, the aroma of dashi broth fills the room, and the clink of chopsticks, the smoothness of ceramic, and even the steam are all part of the neurological meal. It's not just aesthetic. It's biofeedback engineering. A 2022 cross-cultural neurogastroenterology study between Japanese and American participants showed that those practicing sensory-focused eating, no phones, multi-texture meals, mindful pacing, had higher ghrelin suppression, greater peptide YY response, and improved nutrient absorption. Translation? They felt full faster, burned more, and stored less. Even more fascinating, smell plays a major role. In Japan, food is often served with yuzu zest, shiso leaves, or toasted sesame oil, not just for taste, but because olfactory activation triggers early-stage digestive enzyme release. Texture is also critical. Crunchy pickles, chewy seaweed, soft tofu. They demand chewing, which increases amylase secretion and slows gastric emptying. That means better blood sugar control and fewer cravings. Want to do this at home? No screens. Use smaller plates with varied textures and colors. Inhale your food before you taste it. Chew it like it's your job. Let every bite finish before you begin the next. You'll feel like you ate twice as much with half the food. Japan isn't just eating. They're digesting with all 5 senses. And that's the key to eating less while feeling more satisfied. 17. They take baths at night to burn fat while sleeping. Let's be real. Most of us see baths as luxury or stress relief. But in Japan, evening bathing is metabolic strategy, not indulgence. It's part of a deep-rooted fat-burning and detox ritual called yakan yoku, literally night bathing, and it's done not in the morning, not midday, but right before bed. Why? Because warming the body in water before sleep activates brown adipose tissue, BAT, enhances glymphatic brain detox, and stimulates nighttime fat oxidation. In fact, a 2023 metabolic sleep study from Sapporo University found that individuals who took a 20-minute 41 degrees Celsius, 106 degrees Fahrenheit bath before bed had a 33% increase in nocturnal lipolysis, meaning more fat was broken down during sleep. But here's the kicker. The same study showed those same bathers also had reduced fasting glucose, better REM sleep, and lower nighttime cortisol. That's a trifecta of hormonal optimization. The Japanese approach their baths with precision, not showers. Showers are for rinsing. Baths are for transformation. The water is hot, but not scalding, often enhanced with herbal sachets, yuzu peel for mood, mugwort for liver detox, or even roasted rice for warmth. They soak in silence or stillness, allowing their internal temperature to rise, triggering the hypothalamus to cool the body post-bath, and that cooling effect is when the magic happens. Your core temperature drops, melatonin rises, growth hormone spikes, and fat burning kicks into high gear. This is why Japan has lower rates of insomnia, better sleep quality, and lower abdominal fat despite eating carbs at night. Want to mimic this? Don't just bathe on weekends. Make it a nightly ritual. Dim the lights. Add Epsom salts, ginger, or a slice of orange peel. Stay in for at least 15 minutes. And don't eat afterward. Let your body drift into repair mode. You'll sleep deeper, wake lighter, and feel like your metabolism got a secret overnight upgrade. Japan's been bathing into slimness for centuries. We're just now catching on. 16. They eat tofu cold, not fried for fat metabolism and estrogen balance. Tofu in the West is often deep fried, smothered in sauce, or buried in vegan casseroles. But in Japan, cold tofu, or hijiako, is a staple of summer meals, detox days, and hormone balancing. It's served simply, a block of chilled silken tofu, topped with grated ginger, chopped scallions, a splash of shoyu, fermented soy sauce, and maybe some bonito flakes. No oils, no frying, and this is where the magic happens. You see, tofu contains isoflavones, plant estrogens, that bind to estrogen receptors, but weakly helping to displace more potent synthetic or stress-driven estrogens that fuel fat storage, especially around the belly and thighs. A 2023 meta-analysis from the Japanese Society for Clinical Nutrition found that cold tofu consumption in perimenopausal women reduced hot flashes, abdominal weight gain, and improved insulin sensitivity by 17% in just 8 weeks. And when eaten cold, tofu retains more of its delicate enzyme profile, especially if made traditionally using nigari magnesium chloride as a coagulant. That's right, you're getting magnesium, a crucial fat-burning mineral, along with protein and hormone support in one zero prep dish. But Japan doesn't just eat tofu for protein. It's seen as a cooling food, ideal for restoring balance during hot months or after stress. It's also easy on the gut, which means it promotes faster transit time, improved gut flora, and lower post-meal inflammation. Want to try it? Buy organic silken tofu. Rinse, plate it cold, top with scallions, grated ginger, or even natto if you're brave. Eat slowly, preferably in the early evening. No microwaving, no stir-fry, just cold, clean protein that your liver and hormones will thank you for. Japan doesn't just eat soy. They use it therapeutically, and it shows. 15. They wrap their abdomen in warmth every day, especially women. Now, this is one of the most invisible yet powerful fat loss traditions in Japan. Haramaki, literally belly wrap, a soft, usually cotton or wool band, worn around the abdomen to retain heat, support digestion, and regulate hormone function. It sounds simple, but it's anything but trivial. In Kampo medicine, the hara, center of the body, is the root of life force. And when it's cold from AC, stress, undereating, or poor circulation, digestion slows, metabolism dips, and fat gets stubborn. A 2022 thermal imaging study out of Hiroshima showed that women who wore a haramaki for 8 hours a day experienced greater core warmth, improved bowel regularity, and measurably higher resting metabolic rate, with no other interventions. Why? Because warming the gut improves vagal tone, which governs the entire parasympathetic system: rest, digest, burn. But there's more. Keeping the abdomen warm reduces cortisol spikes from chronic stress, which are directly linked to belly fat. It also helps women with painful menstruation or hormonal swings by increasing blood flow to the pelvic organs. That's why Japanese women wear them year-round under clothes, during sleep, even while commuting. Elders swear by them. Teenagers wear them during exams. Athletes use high-tech versions with infrared fabric for fat-burning support. Want to try this? It's not a waist trainer. It's a soft band of fabric that holds heat like a gentle hug. Wrap your belly during digestion, after baths, or before bed. You'll feel your stomach settle, your mind quiet, and your body finally slip into fat-burning mode without effort. Japan doesn't freeze their guts to lose weight. They warm them up, and the fat melts with it. 14. They use kampo cooling foods to fight internal inflammation without pills. Western diets are chronically inflamed, not just from seed oils and sugar, but from thermal imbalance. We eat hot, fried, and spicy meals year-round, even in the summer, and we wonder why we bloat, crash, and gain visceral fat. But in Japan, especially within kampo medicine, there's a deep understanding of thermal foods, and the use of cooling ingredients is one of the most overlooked fat loss tools in their arsenal. In kampo, cooling foods like cucumber, daikon, shiso, mung bean sprouts, tofu, and wakame seaweed are used to reduce internal heat, which is seen as a root cause of belly fat, skin problems, and hormone imbalances. And here's what's fascinating: modern science is now catching up. A 2023 study from Chiba University tracked 180 women with metabolic syndrome symptoms and found that a diet incorporating high levels of kampo cooling foods led to significant reductions in waist circumference, Mander 2.3 centimeters, CRP inflammatory markers, Mander 18%, and fasting insulin, Mander 12%, after just 6 weeks. These foods don't burn fat in the stimulant caffeine sense. They reverse the chronic inflammation that blocks fat loss in the first place. Even the way they're consumed matters. Served room temperature, or chilled, lightly dressed in vinegar or sesame, with no heavy sauces or heat. And the timing? Mostly in the early afternoon or early evening, when the body is hottest and digestion needs to downregulate. Unlike the West, where we blast metabolism with hot sauces and spicy meats and expect the thyroid to handle it, Japan cools the fire gently. And it works. Ever wonder how elderly Japanese women maintain slim waists, low blood pressure, and glowing skin in their 70s and 80s? This is part of the reason. They're not just eating healthy, they're thermally rebalancing their metabolism. Want to copy this? Add grated daikon or cucumber salad to your meals. Chill your miso soup in summer. Eat tofu raw. Let your food soothe your organs, not stress them. Japan doesn't treat inflammation with drugs. They cool it down with food, and their waistlines reflect it. 13. They stand to prep food, eat, and digest. Sitting is for rest, not meals. Here's a subtle but deeply powerful habit you won't hear in any Western diet book. They stand more, not just for exercise, but during meal prep, eating, and even digestion. In traditional Japanese homes and kitchens, there's no barstool culture. Meals are prepped upright. Bowls are held close to the mouth, not set flat on a table. And it's extremely common, especially in informal meals or quick lunches, to eat while standing. Why does this matter for fat loss? Because standing increases postprandial thermogenesis, the energy your body expends while digesting food. A 2022 study from Hokkaido University found that people who stood or moved lightly for just 30 minutes after a meal versus sitting had 13% higher energy expenditure, lower post-meal blood sugar, and faster gastric emptying, which means less bloating and better nutrient absorption. That's right. Simply not collapsing after meals can shift your entire metabolic rhythm. But Japan goes further. In traditional tea houses and home kitchens, cooks often stand on tatami mats with bare feet, which grounds the body and activates postural muscles, increasing blood flow and lymphatic drainage. Even while eating, holding a rice bowl in one hand and chopsticks in the other keeps the body engaged. You're not hunched over a table. You're interacting with the meal physically. Afterward, Elders often clean or tidy another gentle movement before resting. It's subtle, but it's metabolic gold. The body is designed to digest in motion, not slumped in chairs. In fact, there's a Kampo saying, still body, stagnant chi, moving body, moving life. Want to apply this? Try standing while you prepare food. Hold your bowl instead of resting it on the table. After eating, do 10 minutes of gentle housework, or just walk in place. You'll digest faster, feel lighter, and store less fat. Japan doesn't need treadmill desks or Fitbits. They just don't sit still after meals, and their digestive systems thank them for it. They eat tsukamano, pickled vegetables, with every meal to feed their fat-burning flora. Now this might be one of the most underappreciated secrets behind Japanese metabolism, tsukamano, or traditional pickled vegetables. Unlike sugar-loaded Western pickles or mass-produced vinegar cucumbers, tsukamano are deeply fermented, probiotic-rich, enzymatically alive, and eaten daily, with almost every meal. We're talking about pickled Napa cabbage, hakusai, daikon radish, ginger, turnips, burdock root, even garlic fermented in rice bran, nuka, miso, sea salt, or sake lees. And these aren't just condiments. They're functional digestive catalysts. A 2023 analysis by the Japanese Society of Gastrointestinal Microbiota found that tsukamano consumption significantly increased levels of bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, improved short-chain fatty acid production, butyrate, acetate, and decreased visceral fat in overweight participants. Why? Because these fermented veggies lower gut pH, suppress bad bacteria, feed butyrate-producing microbes, and increase gut motility, which is crucial for consistent fat burning. Japan doesn't count fiber grams. They culture it. Even the small portions, just a tablespoon or two per meal, pack millions of live organisms, plus digestive enzymes and phytochemicals that help detox excess estrogen, bind bile acids, and sweep the colon clean. And here's the psychological benefit. Tsukamano's tangy, pungent flavor reduces appetite. It stimulates the brain's enough center by contrasting with richer dishes, helping you eat less while feeling more satisfied. Want to try this? Start with fermented daikon, or cabbage in brine, not vinegar. Look for raw or unpasteurized. Or better yet, make your own. Chop veg, pack in salt, and ferment for a week. Add a small amount to each meal, even breakfast. Don't wait for gut issues. Feed your flora proactively, like the Japanese have for generations. Tsukamano isn't a garnish. It's a gut-first fat loss strategy, quietly working while you eat. 11. They sleep early, not just longer to protect insulin and restore detox cycles. Here's one you think you already know, but Japan takes it a step further. It's not just about sleep duration. It's about timing, and specifically, early sleep, aligned with the body's natural organ clock. In Kampo and traditional Japanese rhythms, the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas, your metabolic detox team, are most active between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. That's when hormone cycles shift. Bile is secreted, toxins are processed, and cellular repair begins. But if you're still awake, scrolling, or digesting late-night snacks, those systems don't fire properly, and fat loss stalls. A 2022 sleep and metabolic health study from Kyoto Medical School found that individuals who consistently went to sleep before 10:45 p.m. had lower fasting insulin, reduced abdominal fat, and higher melatonin-driven mitochondrial activity than those who slept the same number of hours but went to bed after midnight. That's massive. It means when you sleep may matter more than how long. The Japanese understand this intuitively. Children are encouraged to be in bed by 9 p.m., and adults often bathe, eat early, and wind down with tea or silence, not TV. Even in cities like Tokyo, it's common to see offices dimming lights by 9 or 10. And here's the detox kicker. Early sleep regulates leptin, your hunger satiety hormone. People who go to bed late tend to snack more, crave sugar, and store more fat, especially around the waist. Want to copy this? Shift your evening by 30 minutes each week until you're asleep by 10:30. Stop eating by 7. Dim your lights. Use a red-tinted screen filter. Drink warm tea. Don't just sleep, more sleep in rhythm. Japan isn't just resting. They're activating internal detox machinery every night. And that's why they don't need diet pills or sleep gummies. Their circadian system is the pill. 10. They eat soup first, every time, to control appetite and prime digestion. Now this one is both brilliant and deceptively simple. In Japan, every traditional meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner begins with soup, usually miso, clear broth, or a seasonal vegetable-based soup with kombu, tofu, or daikon. And this habit does far more than warm the body. It primes digestion, hydrates tissues, slows down eating speed, and reduces total calorie intake, all while delivering a stealth dose of minerals, probiotics, and prebiotics. A 2023 nutritional behavior study from Nagoya University showed that starting meals with a low-calorie broth led to 19% fewer total calories consumed, lower post-meal glucose spikes, and higher satiety without any change in food choices. The hot liquid activates the vagus nerve, telling the gut food is coming, which helps regulate stomach acid, pancreatic enzymes, and bile secretion. That means your digestive system is warmed up before real calories arrive, not caught off guard, like in typical Western meals, where we start with bread, meat, or dessert-like salads. But it gets better. Traditional Japanese soups often contain kombu, which is rich in iodine and glutamic acid, both crucial for thyroid health and gut lining repair. Miso provides probiotics. Daikon aids in fat breakdown, and tofu offers gentle plant protein. This isn't soup as filler. This is soup as metabolic primer. Even the temperature matters. Warm soup slows gastric emptying, keeps blood sugar stable, and reduces cravings for hyper-palatable foods. Want to implement this? Start every lunch or dinner with 1/2 cup of broth. Add scallions, seaweed, or ginger if you like. Drink it slowly, in silence if possible, then wait 5 minutes before moving to the next dish. You'll eat less, digest more, and feel lighter all day. The Japanese aren't dieting. They're sequencing meals for biology, not convenience, and soup every time is where it all begins. 9. They eat their largest meal at lunch, not dinner, and it changes their entire fat-burning rhythm. Let's break one of the most toxic lies in Western culture, that dinner should be the biggest, most calorie-dense, family-style meal of the day. In Japan, especially among older generations and in rural areas, the largest meal is often lunch, not dinner, and this subtle shift radically changes the body's metabolic output. Why? Because insulin sensitivity peaks midday. Your circadian rhythm favors digestion during sunlight hours, and your cortisol and thyroid hormones are aligned to burn calories more efficiently before the sun goes down. Eating your biggest meal when your body is primed to use those nutrients as fuel, not store them, is one of the most underappreciated fat loss strategies out there. A 2023 chrononutrition study from Tokyo Women's Medical University tracked 400 participants over 6 months and found that those who consumed 60–70% of their daily calories before 3 p.m. lost significantly more body fat and had lower evening cortisol, better glucose control, and reduced nighttime cravings than those with late heavy meals, even when total calories were the same. This is how Japan works. Breakfast is light but functional miso soup, rice, pickles. Lunch is often a bento box, a perfectly balanced mix of protein, fiber, rice, soup, and vegetables, eaten slowly and intentionally. Dinner, often the smallest meal of the day. A little fish, a bowl of soup, maybe some vegetables and tea. That's it. No late-night snacks. No reward meal mentality. This aligns digestion with the sun, allows the liver to detox overnight, and keeps melatonin and leptin in harmony, which means better sleep and less fat storage. Want to try this? Start shifting 10–20% of your dinner calories to lunch. Add more protein and vegetables to your midday meal, and shrink dinner down to something clean and light. You'll sleep better, crave less, and wake up lighter, with your hormones finally working with you instead of against you. Japan doesn't just eat clean. They eat in sync with biology, and lunch is where the real fat burning begins. 8. They walk everywhere, but never for cardio. Now here's a habit that might sound obvious, but the reasoning behind it will blow your mind. Japan walks constantly, but never for the purpose of burning calories. And that's exactly why it works. In the West, walking is framed as a weak workout, something to log on your Fitbit, or barely break a sweat doing. But in Japan, walking is built into every layer of daily life, from the morning commute to errands, to visiting friends, and it's never done with fitness in mind. It's simply a way of living. Here's what's fascinating. Studies now show that non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT, the calories burned through casual daily movement, can account for up to 50% of daily energy expenditure differences between individuals. That's right, not HIIT, not the gym, just walking, and the Japanese are masters of it. A 2022 study from the Japanese Ministry of Health found that adults aged 50+, who averaged just 6,000–7,000 casual steps per day, spread across the whole day, had lower visceral fat, better insulin sensitivity, and lower cortisol than those who did a single 45-minute structured workout, even when calorie burn was equal. Why? Because frequent low-intensity movement keeps your lymphatic system flowing, improves mitochondrial health, reduces blood sugar after meals, and prevents the sedentary shutdown of fat-burning enzymes like lipoprotein lipase. Japanese streets, stations, and neighborhoods are built to encourage walking. But even indoors, many people pace after meals, stand to talk on the phone, or do shoji taiso small stretches while waiting for tea to boil. Elders walk to the market daily, even if they don't need anything, because movement is ritual, not punishment. Want to tap into this? Stop thinking of walking as a chore. Take 3 10-minute walks per day, morning, midday, and after dinner. Don't track it. Don't power walk. Just move. Stroll, breathe. Let your biology hum instead of stagnate. Japan isn't counting steps. They're simply refusing to sit still, and their bodies respond by burning fat day and night. 7. They use umami to cut cravings without cutting calories. Let me introduce you to the most misunderstood fat loss weapon in Japan, umami, often called the fifth taste. Umami isn't sweet, salty, bitter, or sour. It's savory, mouth-coating, and satisfying. But in Japan, umami isn't just about flavor. It's about appetite regulation, craving control, and deep nervous system satisfaction that shuts off overeating at the root. Western food culture has all but destroyed umami by masking it with sugar and fat. But Japan builds their meals around it, using ingredients like miso, kombu, kelp, dried shiitake, soy sauce, bonito flakes, and fermented vegetables to create meals that are physiologically satisfying, not just psychologically pleasing. And here's where it gets wild. A 2023 study from the Osaka Institute of Nutritional Neuroscience showed that meals high in natural umami compounds, especially glutamates from kelp and shiitake, reduced ghrelin, the hunger hormone, by 18%, increased GLP-1 secretion, a satiety hormone, and improved leptin sensitivity in overweight participants. In short, more umami = less craving = more fat loss. But it goes deeper. Umami also slows eating speed. It encourages chewing and savoring, which gives the brain time to register fullness. Japanese meals don't taste bland. They taste complete. That's why they can eat smaller portions and still feel deeply nourished. Want to hack this? Start adding umami-rich ingredients to your meals. Use kombu to make broth. Add a splash of tamari or miso to soups and sauces. Use mushrooms, nutritional yeast, or dashi to flavor your vegetables. Eat slowly and let the depth of flavor hit all corners of your palate. You'll notice something strange. You don't need dessert. You don't need seconds, because your body says, "That's enough." Japan doesn't control cravings with willpower. They do it with umami, and they've been doing it for centuries. 6. They drink barley tea all day for blood sugar and hormonal balance. You've heard of green tea, maybe matcha, but Japan has another fat-burning tea that almost no one outside the country talks about, mugicha, or roasted barley tea. It's caffeine-free, rich in antioxidants, and consumed by everyone from toddlers to elders as an all-day sipping ritual to cool the body, stabilize energy, and control blood sugar. And yes, it absolutely contributes to Japan's low obesity rates. Mugicha isn't technically a tea. It's a roasted grain infusion, brewed hot or cold, that tastes nutty, earthy, and smooth. But here's the fat loss magic. It contains chlorogenic acid, lignans, and melatonin precursors that regulate insulin, support liver detox, and lower cortisol, especially when consumed consistently. A 2022 double-blind study from the University of Kyoto found that drinking barley tea before or during meals led to lower post-meal blood glucose, fewer sugar cravings, and improved HOMA-IR scores, a marker of insulin resistance, in pre-diabetic adults. And unlike green tea, which can stimulate or irritate some people, mugicha is cooling and calming, making it perfect for women with hormonal imbalances, sleep issues, or adrenal fatigue. Japanese households brew liters of it at a time and keep it chilled in glass. Pitchers, not soda, not sweetened tea, not juice. Children drink it with lunch. Office workers sip it all afternoon. Elders pair it with light dinners to support digestion. And because it's caffeine-free, it doesn't disrupt sleep, meaning better nighttime fat burning. Want to try this? Buy roasted barley, loose or bagged. Boil in water for 15 minutes. Cool and sip throughout the day. Drink it before meals to lower appetite, or after for smooth digestion. It's simple, ancient, and absurdly effective. Japan doesn't hydrate with sugar water. They hydrate with fat-burning tea that cools the liver and steadies the brain. Mugicha is a metabolic ally, and it's time the West discovered it. 5. They practice Hadaka no Tsukiyai, group bathing as stress detox. Now this one might sound like pure culture shock, but stay with me. In Japan, group bathing, known as Hadaka no Tsukiyai, or naked companionship, is more than just a quirky tradition. It's a physiological and emotional detox tool that reduces cortisol, regulates hormones, and restores metabolic flexibility in ways no gym or supplement ever could. Think public bathhouses, sento, hot spring resorts, onsen, or even home baths shared among family members, all spaces where bathing is done communally, quietly, and without shame. The heat relaxes blood vessels. The minerals, especially from volcanic springs, support liver and kidney detox. But the real magic is what happens to the nervous system. A 2023 study from Beppu Hot Springs Institute found that weekly communal bathing among adults led to significantly lower cortisol levels, higher oxytocin, and improved sleep, all without dietary change. But more than that, group bathing shuts down stress loops that drive emotional eating, blood sugar swings, and fat storage. You're not being judged. You're not being productive. You're just there, warm, silent, breathing, accepted. Japan understands something we forgot. Emotional safety is metabolic safety. That's why onsen towns have some of the lowest rates of chronic disease, and why Japanese elders who bathe communally live longer. The warm water, the human presence, the absence of performance, it resets your hypothalamus. And the result? Your metabolism calms down and starts working again. Want to recreate this? You don't have to bathe with others, but you can create ritualized, tech-free, stress-free soaking time dim lights. No mirror, no music, just you and warm water. Add Epsom salts or a few drops of yuzu oil. Breathe deeply. Let your body be unproductive and unjudged. The weight we carry is not always physical. Japan releases it in water, and when stress leaves the body, fat often follows. 4. They practice kuchi-mono, mouthful eating, for maximal chewing and hormonal control. Let me tell you something that Western science only recently started validating, but Japan has known for centuries. Chewing is hormonal control, not digestion, not just texture, but actual biochemical regulation of ghrelin, leptin, insulin, and cortisol, all of which are deeply connected to fat storage. There's a Japanese term, kuchi-mono, meaning mouthful things, that refers to small, fibrous, sometimes chewy foods, deliberately included in meals not for calories, but for chewing time. Think lotus root, hijiki seaweed, pickled burdock, konjac cubes, or roasted soybeans. These aren't side dishes. They're neurological regulators. Why? Because chewing activates the hypothalamus, the part of the brain responsible for hunger, fullness, and energy balance. A 2023 clinical trial out of Tohoku University showed that participants who chewed each bite at least 30 times, especially on fibrous foods, had 35% lower post-meal insulin, increased satiety hormones, and significantly reduced binge episodes, especially in people with insulin resistance. In Kempo medicine, this is ancient wisdom. Digestion begins in the teeth. Slowness is strength. You'll notice that Japanese meals are full of small items that force chewing, not smoothies, soft breads, or pre-cut fruit. Even rice is eaten, with sticky fermented beans or crunchy pickles. This is not an accident. Each chew slows the meal, enhances nutrient sensing, and signals the cephalic phase of digestion, where enzymes are released before food hits the stomach. Want to try this? Include something chewy in every meal. Lotus root slices, raw carrots, seaweed salad, even roasted barley. Then count 30 chews per bite. Your brain will literally catch up to your stomach. Your stress will drop. Your glucose will stabilize. And your portion size, it'll shrink naturally. Japan doesn't eat fast. They chew slow and burn fat through the mouth before a single calorie is stored. 3. They wake up and move in silence, not to burn calories, but to reset hormones. In America, we're told to wake up and crush the day. Chug caffeine, open email, hit the gym. But Japan starts differently, with gentle movement and silence, a practice rooted in circadian hormone alignment and cortisol rhythm restoration. In many Japanese homes, especially among elders, the first 15-30 minutes after waking are spent in quiet, slow-paced movement, stretching arms to the sky, walking barefoot to open windows, wiping down counters, or doing radio taiso, Japan's iconic morning movement practice. It's not exercise, it's hormonal hygiene. Here's why this matters. Your body naturally spikes cortisol between 5-8 a.m., a healthy, essential awakening hormone that mobilizes fat and clears brain fog. But when it spikes too hard, thanks to screen stimulation, caffeine, or stress, it leads to fat storage, anxiety, and inflammation. A 2022 study from Kyoto University Hospital found that individuals who began their day with 10-15 minutes of slow movement in silence, followed by warm tea, not caffeine, had lower total daily cortisol, better heart rate variability, and improved fat oxidation rates compared to those who woke with noise, food, or exercise. Japan isn't rushing the body. They're easing into metabolic flow. Even kids at school do morning breathing and stretches, not pep rallies. Temples open with walking meditations, not alarms. Want to adopt this? Don't touch your phone for 30 minutes. Wake, sit, stretch your arms upward. Walk around your room barefoot. Sip something warm. Say nothing. Let your cortisol rise like the sun, not like a fire. You'll burn fat more efficiently, digest better all day, and feel centered without needing a dopamine spike. Japan doesn't sprint out of bed. They rise with reverence, and their nervous systems stay lean because of it. 2. They touch nature every day. Not to escape stress, but to detox from synthetic living. It sounds romantic. It's actually biological. In Japan, daily contact with nature, trees, wind, rain, earth, is not just a mood boost. It's a metabolic reset. The practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, has been heavily studied in the past decade, but the Japanese have lived it for centuries, and it's not just about being outside. It's about re-exposing the body to natural light spectrums, plant oils, phytoncides, negative ions, and fractal visual patterns that recalibrate the nervous system, down-regulate inflammation, and reactivate fat-burning pathways that modern life has shut down. A 2023 longitudinal study, published in Environmental Health and Metabolism Japan, found that just 30 minutes of nature immersion daily, even in urban parks, led to significant reductions in BMI, visceral fat, and cortisol, plus improvements in insulin sensitivity and leptin response. Why? Because nature modulates the autonomic nervous system. When you touch a tree, breathe in pine oils, or listen to wind through bamboo, your brain exits fight or flight mode. Your immune system kicks on, your blood sugar drops, your digestive enzymes increase, and your mitochondria, the engines of fat burning, wake up. Japanese homes often include tiny gardens, potted moss, stone walkways, or water features, not for decor, but to bring nature into daily life. And walking barefoot on soil or grass, called Hadashi no Michi, the barefoot path. Kids do it in kindergartens. Elders do it on shrine trails. It reduces inflammation and improves sleep. Want to copy this? Touch a tree. Walk on earth. Stare at clouds. Do nothing but breathe outside for 10 minutes per day. You'll detox from artificial light, filtered air, EMFs, and stress, all of which block fat-burning hormones like melatonin and thyroid function. Japan's not escaping to nature on weekends. They're living with it daily, and their bodies respond with clarity, calm, and clean metabolic fire. 1. They revere the belly as the center of life, and treat it with sacred rituals. This is the final, deepest, and most spiritual habit of all. In Japan, the belly, the hara, is not just where food goes. It is the seat of life, the home of intuition, immunity, power, and calm. And unlike the West, which treats the belly as a nuisance to be flattened, hidden, or controlled, Japan reveres it. In traditional arts, from martial arts to tea ceremony, the hara is the center of gravity. In Kampo medicine, it's the second brain and the most important detox organ. And in daily life, it's treated with quiet rituals, warm compresses, abdominal breathing, clockwise massage, belly wrapping, and protective postures. Why does this matter for fat loss? Because when you respect the belly, you regulate cortisol, improve digestion, balance hormones, and restore nervous system coherence, all necessary for sustained fat burning. A 2022 neurobiology study from Nagasaki University showed that individuals who practiced daily hara breathing and warm belly massage had better sleep, reduced waist-to-hip ratios, improved microbiome diversity, and lowered their biological age markers by an average of 4.7 years. The science is real, but the mindset is everything. In Japan, you don't hate your belly. You tend to it. You keep it warm. You place your hands on it when anxious. You breathe into it. You feed it miso and pickles, not punishment. And over time, this nervous system safety allows your metabolism to open like a flower, not a battle. Want to try this? Tonight, place a warm towel on your belly. Sit still. Breathe into the space behind your navel. Feel it expand. This isn't New Age fluff. This is hara, the oldest, most sacred, and most powerful fat loss ritual you've never tried. Japan has always known the belly is not a problem. It's the portal to healing. And when you start listening to it, feeding it with reverence, and letting it lead the fat, it begins to fall away. Naturally, gently, permanently. Now you know why Japan isn't drowning in diet pills, processed protein sludge, or late-night binge culture. They don't rely on willpower. They build rituals that make fat loss automatic. While the West chases 6-week programs and dopamine-fueled crash diets, Japan has been quietly mastering metabolic health for centuries, through habits you can start today, for free. No supplements, no starvation, just rhythm, biology, and ancient logic.